apparently there is a secret hierarchy with a hidden chain of command that are compartmentalized and maintained within an already secret brotherhood, as if you didn't know that. And what they do is they scroll back into this same timeline again and again, because they scrolled it back so that they can computerize their version of the Akashic record. So that's why I never go to Akashic record readers. I don't go to psychics. I don't go to channelers. I only do my own thing, because there is a completely false Akashic record that is digital and is part of a DARPA database. This is a total information awareness system of what they want you to think that you know and what they want you to think our past lives were. Most of us were nomadic hunter-gatherers, and all this bullshit about you being like the Queen of Sheba or whatever, that is archetypal baloney. Most of us were just regular, quiet, wise women and wise men who knew how to be on the land, and nature was the only thing that we were concerned with, the seasons and the cycles. They created this database of future events because we've already done this timeline before. I think we've done this very timeline a bunch of times. They get better at their manipulations, and we get better at realizing how to overcome their manipulations. And how to overcome their manipulations is to have nothing digital, nothing smart. I'm not doing civilization. Whatever their version of civilization was, that's how they imprisoned us, with all the machines, all the electronics, the Industrial Revolution, all our smart devices, our stupid cars. To me, if we gonna go back to original magic, you have to go back to the original human. And that's how I do magic. I cannot stand any of that modern civilization stuff. Maybe you can. Maybe you're great at doing rituals. Go ahead. But I'm not sure that that's not influenced and going out through the circuitry of the electronics and the digital devices and being manipulated. The whole thing of the Akashic Records is a DARPA hardware of zeros and ones. So Nostradamus, Manly P. Hall, and Edgar Cayce were mouthpieces for this DARPA, and we are basically doing the same loop in which it seems like we're doing the same thing again and again. And this is the whole, like, we've got to get out of here, people. We have to figure out how to get out of here, which is why everyone might be getting out in a different way. I know that some people have to aim for that black hole in the middle of the sun. Maybe that's because you're draconian. I don't. I immediately go to the void. Other people are doing it other ways. That's your thing. What I do suggest is you don't get on a ship and you don't open any gates for the Nephilim. The only people that can open the gates are humans. So if you're opening a gate, it better be for you alone. Because if you're getting on a ship, it's going to be Nibiru. If you're going through a gate with a Nephilim, you're releasing them. Because what was astounding, in 1908, they tried to leave by the Stargate in Siberia, and you know that the whole tundra was flattened with radioactivity, like everything. So I know Siberia is a major Stargate that they're trying to use. I'm not sure what they're going to do this time. And only the humans can open those gates. So that's why also they know who we are. We are the ones who can open this thing. And this is why I want us to remember, to some extent, without being attached to who you are and your story, you are a powerful magical being. So the serpent people, or the Nogs, were the Atlantean demigods, and the technology that they have been using since then is all technology. They don't have real magic. For instance, the Stone of Stones that was placed under the serpent monarchs, it was a crystal that was a coded memory for their particular DNA, and it would scream if the person sitting on the throne was not of the serpent or Nog line. Ritual murders and sacrifice that are still performed for the immortal Nogs who have to stay underground and still live underground. The ruby crystal is one of their technologies, and basically what they have created here is a system of slavery and sacrifice to get science and religion to consolidate us into a mind control system. So they use science and religion to degenerate us and to also try and convince us that something else is needed for us to ascend, or something else is higher than us and will decide whether we go to heaven or hell. And when I say that we're already in hell, remember, hell is a condition of not thinking you have a choice, and you do have a choice. Hell is not this biblical realm where the bad people go. No, these Nephilim are why we're quarantined here. They're not allowed to leave. We are. Okay, so do not open the gates for them. John Dee apparently was able to speak to the Nephilim in what he called Enochian language. In the bog, they use Sumerian language. They use these ancient languages, and they can summon demons, and they can talk to the Nephilim. And it was John Dee who opened this pan-dimensional portal, because you can summon more demons and you can also loop the timeline. And apparently John Dee was part of that looping. Every single one of us has part of that serpent line nog in us. You can remove it, and now I've seen they've actually had physical entities that are in the bodies of people. But the pure human DNA is a poet, they're an artist, they're musicians, they can be architects, they love to do film, they love storytelling, they love to create. A real human with real human DNA does not need to worship, because you are already that, and you're very creative. You can grow food, you know all the plant medicines. In fact, the true magical women, they wrote everything in their recipe books because it was plant medicine based with the elements of fire and water and ether and air and soil, and metals and different things like that. I've read some of those old recipe books from wise women. It was based on nature. Our magic comes from the plants. It comes from the interaction with nature. And the more that we look at these devices, the more people don't even know how to grow something natural, like something that's even a weed. For me, dandelion is it. But there's a whole bunch of plants that I have very strong relationships. And a plant is as sentient as my dog. A plant will talk to you. It will tell you how to use it. It is completely ensouled and in spirit. It is part of us, and we are part of it. And so all of nature has mysteries and answers. All the trees know. All the plant life knows. The rocks know. And that's where I get my information. That's where the magic happens. The Nephilim, though, they just have technology. So what they've been doing is they've been building up their technology that was ruined during Atlantis. They've been building it up, building it up, building it up. I showed that Ra guy who said that we're all going to be hooked into Source through some crystal. Ah, yes, that's Atlantean technology. It's all technology. They want crystals in our brain. They want black goo in our body. They want to control us completely. Because if we knew how powerful and magical we really are, and I'm not talking about go to Joe Dispenza and get yourself all messed up with his weird heart math digital institute of putting your finger in some device and controlling your heart rhythm. No, people, you do not need anything digital attached to your body. You don't need to spin geometries and all kinds of stuff like that. You already are that magical being. We're in the same loop. We've done this before. And I'm going to be spending a lot of time in those magical realms now. I just feel it. I need to go into that deep, dark, magical place. The void, the deep, that feeling of our primordial selves, and bringing that voidness in here. Indigenous people from the Andes who said 30,000 years ago there was no moon. And apparently Tiamat was our light source, but Tiamat was destroyed by some atomic nuclear weapon. And the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter are the broken pieces of Tiamat. So they literally installed a moon, which I think is a reptilian base. It's not our moon, and it's not a moon, right? It's a satellite. And the sun. The Anunnaki were the serpent beings. They were a cult of these serpent beings. And then apparently, some meeting happened where the Illuminati made a deal with the short gray reptilians and the taller reptilian elite for a joint control of a one world electronic society. The headquarters for the reptilians were moved to the American Southwest in 1933, and the preparation for the digital psycho-cybernetic control through the Silicon Age was developed. So they are developing another age, and it's called the Silicon Age. Nephilim had this thousands of years they've been working on controlling us completely through the psycho-cybernetic digital Silicon Age. And so that's why I am careful about my silicon consumption. Silica occurs naturally in horsetail, and that is an indigenous plant. So some amount of silica and some amount of cleansing the internal body structures is good. But people, the real way that you will become silicon based is not by eating some horsetail or drinking horsetail tea. It's by looking at your digital device and surrounding your whole house with smart technology, which is going to change your DNA through light photons, okay? That's how they're doing it, not because you ate some diatomaceous earth. These ascended masters are the immortal serpent beings, people, and so are all the religious leaders. So are all the Hollywood actors. So start to recognize what's going on here. If there's enough of us to realize what's going on here, just our awareness changes this. It glitches their matrix, because they're doing it all by the sleight of mind of kind of telling us, showing up in Hollywood movies. I don't watch any movies, none at all, because I know there's subliminal acoustic manipulation, and they're changing my memories and my DNA by watching that weird encoded light technology. But for millennia, there were priestess cults, and what did we know? We knew the living earth magic, the flora, the fauna, the herbs, the healing. We then were under the subject of the Dominican order for the Inquisition. The adepts of the rose were murdered, 9 million women, and probably that many wolves, because what I understand is that women, to go between the realms, had an ally, and it was most often a wolf. We could shift into wolves. The women who were these sisterhoods, these priestess cults, that's who you are, people. That's who you are. And so we're just remembering it's like those elemental magics, not the digital magics, not the technology magics that they have. We have that elemental magic. So then the humans were incarcerated in cities, and they were disconnected by laws, rules, clocks, money, artificial municipal existences to distract our subtle senses. And once we did that, we had the pathology of civilization. You go down to the grocery store, you get your junk food, and that changes you too. That changes you, what you eat, what you breathe, the water that you're drinking. So the genetic manipulation through chemical science, catastrophe, traumas, and religion is what detached us from nature. This really is a war of the flickering light. If your eyes only take in natural light, and as soon as it's dark, I go to bed. Before it's dark, I go to bed. And so I'm always attuning myself to the seasons and the cycles of the natural light, which is why on winter solstice, I get real quiet. I need to just dream and go to that between the worlds space. And that's what you can do too. But if you're super distracted, you're going to end up a digital technology people, because that's what their program is. Get everybody on the internet all the time, seeing if anybody likes them on Facebook, seeing if they need to defend themselves, if they need to argue about something like urine therapy. I'm just going, the argument level is unbelievable. So they're getting their loosh feed also from those digital arguments. So the purification, the cleansing, the getting rid of digital devices, the negative ions, which is like the water and the stone wall and the forest. And you need to be quiet and have a lot of water moving, brooks, fields, streams, stone walls, the light from candlelight only and not all these digital devices.